On an eerie, fog-filled day, two massive Boeing 747s were flying towards Gran Canaria Airport when an unexpected bomb blast shattered the tranquility. As the threat of a second explosion loomed, both planes were urgently redirected to Los Rodeos Airport, turning this sleepy airport into a hub of confusion. Relief washed over everyone as they escaped the imminent danger, believing they were now safe at the new airport. However, a fatal misunderstanding unfolded. One plane began its takeoff while the other remained on the runway. In a matter of seconds, the unthinkable happened, plunging everyone into a nightmare. What happened next is the most horrible disaster in the history of world aviation. To know the whole incident, stay tuned until the end of this video. March 27, 1977, Pan Am Flight 1736 is on its way to Gran Canaria, Canary Island from Los Angeles, with a technical stop in New York. The flight is carrying 380 passengers and 16 crew members and is operated by a Boeing 747-100 named Clipper Victor. This is the first ever 747 to enter service. The flight crew consisted of the captain, the first officer, and the flight engineer. Ahead of Flight 1736 is KLM Flight 4805 from Amsterdam Schiphol and also bound for Gran Canaria. The flight is operated with a Boeing 747-200 and is a charter flight for Holland International Travel Group. It was carrying 235 people. The captain of this flight, Jacob V., KLM's chief flying instructor. In the cockpit, there also was the first officer and the flight engineer. At 1:15 p.m., a bomb explodes in the terminal, injuring one person. There had been a phone call warning of the bomb, and soon another call claimed that a second bomb was at the airport. The aviation authorities had closed the airport temporarily after the bomb detonated and diverted all of its incoming flights to Los Rodeos. The tower informs the Pan Am and the KLM flights of the incident and instructs them to divert to Los Rodeos. The pilots of the Pan Am flight tell ATC that they would prefer to circle until the airport reopens. But they are ordered to divert to Los Rodeos. Los Rodeos is a small regional airport with just one runway, along with one major taxiway parallel to it and several small taxiways connecting the two. The KLM Boeing 747 lands first. The Pan Am flight landed after the KLM flight. In total, 5 large airlines are diverted to Los Rodeos, a regional airport that couldn't easily accommodate them. So the planes need to stay on the taxiway. The captain of the KLM 747 asks the tower if he may be allowed to disembark the passengers and let them stay in the terminal in order for them not to get bored. The tower tells them that they will be sending an airport bus right away. The Pan Am captain asks for the same thing, but since the terminal is already full, he is denied. Anyway, the ATC allows the passengers to get off onto the tarmac. A few hours later, Los Rodeos is informed that Gran Canaria Airport has reopened. At this point, the tower gives the planes startup clearances at their discretion. By the way, it has now started raining and the visibility has decreased. The captain of the KLM orders all of his passengers to get back on board. In the meantime, he also orders the aircraft to be fully refueled. The first officer and the flight engineer argue with the captain and tell him that they should refuel in Gran Canaria instead. The captain tells them that as long as he's in command, he makes the decisions, so he orders the aircraft to be fully refueled. The Pan Am captain asks the KLM captain how long his refueling is going to take, as the KLM 747 is blocking the Pan Am 747's way. The KLM captain replies 35 minutes before immediately hanging up on him. The captain and the first engineer get off the plane to see if they can get around the KLM 747. They figured out that they couldn't due to a lack of 12 kT of clearance. At 4:30 p.m, the KLM flight is now fully refueled and is given clearance to backtrack and hold position at runway 30. Dense fog covered the airport, making it difficult to see beyond a few hundred meters. Then the tower ordered the Pan Am flight to follow the KLM flight and to get out the runway at exit number 3. At first, the crew was unclear as to whether the controller had told them to take the first or the third exit. The crew asks for clarification.
Third one, sir. 1, 2, 3. Third one.
The thick fog means that the two planes are invisible to the tower. The crew successfully identified the first two taxiways, C1 and C2, but it's not known whether the crew had been able to spot C3 or E3, which is their intended exit. The Pan Am crew appeared to remain unsure of their position on the runway. In the meantime, the KLM crew has now finished backtracking. Immediately after lining up, the captain of the KLM 747 advanced the throttles and the aircraft began moving forward.
Wait a minute. We don't have the ATC clearance.
No, I know that. Go ahead. Ask.
The KLM 4805 is now ready for takeoff, and we are waiting for our ATC clearance.
You are cleared to the Papa Beacon. Climb to and maintain flight level 90. Right turn after takeoff.
The instructions use the word takeoff, but didn't include an explicit statement that they were cleared for takeoff.
Roger, sir. We are cleared to the Papa Beacon flight level 90 until intercepting the 325. We are now at takeoff.
KLM brakes released.
We're going. Check thrust.
Engine acceleration audible in KLM cockpit.
Stand by for takeoff. I will call you.
Only the OK of this message could be heard clearly by the KLM crew due to a radio heterodyne.
No, and we are still taxiing down the runway, the Clipper 1736.
This message was not heard completely clearly by the KLM crew due to a radio heterodyne.
Papa Alpha 1736. Report the runway clear.
Okay, we'll report when we are clear.
On hearing this, the KLM flight engineer expressed his concern about the Pan Am not being clear of the runway.
Is he not clear then?
What did you say?
Is he not clearer than Pan American?
Oh yes.
V1.
Oh God. Get off. Get off. Get off.
The collision destroyed both airplanes. KLM 4805 passengers, 234, crew 14, no one survived. Total loss of 248 lives. Pan Am was carrying 380 passengers and 16 crew members. 61 people survived but lost 335 lives, where 326 were passengers and 9 were crew members. The investigation, Spain's Civil Aviation Accident and Incident Investigation Commission, CIAIAC, led the investigation into the Tenerife disaster, involving around 70 people, including representatives from the US and the Netherlands. It was found that misinterpretations and false assumptions played a significant role. The KLM pilot believed he had takeoff clearance, while the control tower thought the KLM plane was waiting. The main cause was the KLM pilot's premature takeoff attempt, influenced by new duty time regulations and worsening weather. Other factors included dense fog, limiting visibility, radio interference, and ambiguous phrases used by both the KLM first officer and the control tower. Despite initial reluctance, KLM accepted responsibility, paying significant compensation to the victims' families. The investigation also explored human factors like decision-making under pressure and the influence of the captain's authority. On that day in total, 583 people lost their lives, making it the worst accident in aviation history. I want to know your thoughts about this incident. What do you think led to the tragic collision of the two planes at Los Rodeos Airport? Was it miscommunication, human error, or something else? Share your thoughts and theories in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe for more intriguing stories and insights. Thanks for watching. in memory of those who lost their lives.